And there was a huge debate, wrestling that was going on amongst the Jewish people that were left. And there were sort of four voices that they were hearing. And if I take a minute with these four voices are so contemporary for us today. And it's, as a clinical psychologist, as somebody trained in healing from trauma, these are four voices inside of every one of us when we're in a
Mm,
moment of trauma. And trauma is just a fancy word for a moment of change.
mm,
And the first voice is, it's the end.
yeah.
Every time we have, whether it's a hurricane, Katrina, or it's an earthquake, or a tsunami, or whatever, there's going to be somebody, and often a religious figure, who's going to say, "It's the end. Get ready."
Yeah.
Um, we should not be surprised at that. It's part of the psychological mechanism of facing change. There is something
Mm,
inside of us that knows that this outer event is calling forth a change in us. So yes, it is an end. It's not an end to the outer world. It's an end to some aspect of our inner world.
wow.
The second voice is what I call the woulda, coulda, shoulda voice. If only I had done this, if only I had done
Mm,
that, if only I'd started that diet sooner, if only I'd gone
mm,
back to the gym, if only,
mm,
um, and what's going on for the Jewish people at that moment is that there is a legalistic voice which is telling them, if only you had observed the law of Moses better, God would not have visited this horror on you. You're a
mm,
sinful people, and therefore you need to repent of your sin and come back to Yahweh, and then Yahweh will give you the strength to go back to Jerusalem, to reclaim it, to rebuild the temple, and rededicate the priesthood. And all of us can get caught in this voice too, where I feel I have done something wrong and this is God's punishment of me.
ooh, yeah. Wow.
It it's a human feeling. I understand it, but it's not ultimate reality.
Mm,
The third voice that's going on amongst the Jewish people at this point is, um, when all the big governmental officials or the theologians get this figured out, let me know. But in the meantime, I've got to take care of the kids. I've got to get dinner on the table. I used to say things like, "I got to get the kids to soccer practice." Well, we can't do that when we're in lockdown. But there's
right.
there's all this other stuff. I'm just going to pour myself into other activity because I feel powerless to face the larger issues.
Mm,
And the downside of this voice is falling into some form of addiction, which is a way of getting out of the uncomfortable feelings of the moment.
mm,
There's a fourth voice, and the fourth voice is the voice that's in the Gospel of Matthew. And that voice is, there's a power, there's a spirit. We name that, there's Jesus the Christ who's here. And Jesus is saying, I'm waiting. When you get finished with all the woulda, coulda, and you're feeling bad or whatever, I'm here. And I'm ready to take you on a healing, transformative journey. Will you put your hand in mine?